Hey everyone, I'm so happy that you're here with me. I know like everybody's on Zoom, so you dedicated time from your fully Zoom day to just to talk to me and hear my thoughts. So what we're going to do now is because we're talking about customer experience, we're going to think about your experience in this time of conference. Before I talk about myself, founder of Invincible Innovation and a value creation expert. But before I start with that, I want you to think about your last travel and the last time you had fun while traveling. And once I finish this part, we're gonna have like 5 minutes that you go in groups and you tell your name and something funny or just a good memory of when you traveled. It could be for a business, it could be with the family, wherever. Just it's like 4 or 5 minutes. You'll have 1 minute each to discuss in groups. And then you come back, we'll have like a short presentation, like 15, 20 minutes, and then the workshops. So let's start. So I'll see you really, really soon. So each 1 minute, your name and a good memory of traveling. Hey everyone, I'm so happy that you're back. I hope you heard like good memories and you have like better feeling in your heart before we start. I think it's the best way to start this kind of session. And I had the great opportunity to talk to Chris and Raquel, so at least I met two. So now we can start. So what I'm going to talk about as an innovation and value creation expert is about product innovation and how to create the right customer experience and user experience for your product. And actually why now you should be able to create better products and you have more chances to succeed with that. So let's start. So before I start to explain everything, I want you just to know me. Usually I do it face to face and I see the people and they meet me and we have the chance to talk. So I'm going to just tell you in a few minutes my story and why should you listen to me after all. So my story begins when I was pregnant with my second child. I was a designer in a successful cybersecurity company in Israel. And I was very pleased with my work, but I felt like it's not enough and it's not that interesting because I did very, very small things and I wanted to be the best designer ever and change the world, at least like Steve Jobs, but it didn't really work out. And I felt like I'm not having enough impact on what I'm doing. And I felt like it's not enough. And I felt a bit like a failure because other people that I studied with started startups and created lots of very interesting products. And I felt it's not enough. And then an unexpected change happened. It was on my maternity leave. I had a small baby, and I was asked to come to the office to the boss, to the CEO was my boss, and I felt it's not a good sign to go in maternity leave. But I placed my small baby in my baby carrier, and I went to the office, and I don't remember anything in this half-hour talk. I just remember one thing, that when he fired me, the baby started to cry because my heart beat so fast against his chest that he started to cry. And for me, it was a shock. I did my second degree in cognitive science. I had two small babies, and it was like too much for me at that time. And I remember coming back. That's the baby, and that's his sister. And I said, how will I do it? So how will I cope with all of that and with the rent and with the studies and having a career? And then, like many things that are unexpected, a very good change happened, and a very good friend called me and he said, I can give you a client if you want. And I said, sure, I don't care if they pay me this way or that way. I'll be a freelancer. And what really was amazing there, that it was a very successful company. It was a small startup then, but they're still existing today, which means they are very, very successful. And what was a surprise to me is to understand they are measuring everything, which was not something that frequently you saw on any startup. And usually the startups just stumbled in the dark and they had no methods, and they were very, very strict with the measuring. And the PM called me the product manager called me and he showed me the impact of what I was doing. And it was the first time I saw the impact of design on the business. And it was the first time I understood the power of what I'm doing actually. And from that stage, I decided to do so many more products and projects, and this is only very, very small percentage that I've done. But it wasn't like very fast and fun, and mainly we needed to find a method in order to create better products, in order to create better profitable product faster. And I decided to find this method. And through these clients, I wanted to really understand what is the essence of creating a good product. How could you be successful? And so many startups were just struggling with that. So actually, this is what I did for about 15 years. And then Google approached me and said, could you join our accelerator? So I was part of Google Accelerator for a few years, and I went all over the world and gave workshops and talks and worked with so many startups. And I learned that you can only learn while doing. So you can only understand what you're doing while trying things in the real life. And theories were not enough. I just merged all I knew into one thing that I call Invincible Innovation. And I worked with so many clients, either like very big companies like IBM and Intel, and I worked with Waze when they were like 50 people, just a 10 minutes drive from my home. So during these like 20 years, I merged everything to this method. And after I worked with so many companies and entrepreneurs and smart people, I could just understand what they're doing in order to really understand what is the best thing for me. And this allows me to be with my family and to be with my career and to really make my clients successful. And I have 4 kids right now. So more or less, you know what I do. So in the next like 15 minutes, after we had an intro, I'm going to talk to you why you should care about that right now, why you should care about creating new products right now, and why now in this crisis that we're in, it's the best time to really innovate. Although most companies don't do that and most entrepreneurs are like freezing, but this is the best time, and we'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk how can you gain advantage and what is that is the connection between successful product and customer experience and user experience in general. And then we're going to have the workshop. So for 15 minutes, I'm going to explain the rationale, and then we're going to have a hands-on workshop. So why crisis is right now is a very good time to innovate. So first, we're going to see the trend. We see here the successful companies all over the world, and we see their value in the US stock market. And the gray areas are a time of recession, so time of financial crisis. And you see that there are many companies that were created and started in a time where the financial state was very, very low, and it was recession. You can find H&M, and you can find Lego and Disney and IBM. These companies were established when everything was really down. And you could say, okay, so many other companies were created at that time. But when you go and see all together, all the successful companies right now, 57% of the successful companies were created during a time of recession, time of really, really big crisis. So it means that there were less companies, but they were more successful due to the fact they started during recession. And the question is, why they should be so successful? We see right now that people are laid off, and we see the financial crisis is starting, and it might be much, much worse. And we see companies collapsing. So why now? And one of the things I wanted to share with you is like what is going on in recession that might be a good chance for companies to innovate. So first, there are less startups because some of them are not hanging on and they cannot stay without financing. And you have more access to great talents because many people are fired, and you can get the best people out there just for your company. And you have more entrepreneurs because many very successful and knowledgeable people are out there, and some of them decided after I was laid off, I would prefer to create something on my own, and they're entrepreneurs. And because there is less capital out there, the VCs, the venture capitals, are really cherry picking the right solutions, the right startups, the right companies. So these are all good reasons to think about why now. But I ask myself, is it the only reason, really? Is it like this is the way that things, and this is only that? And I want to share with you a study about what are the top success factors that a good startup needs. So these are the factors that they research: idea, team, timing, business model, and funding. And I want to ask you, what do you think is the most important part of being a successful startup? So what would you decide to vote for? So do you think it's idea or team or timing or business model or funding? What do you think? So Ostulai says the team. This was what I thought in the beginning. And team, yeah, team. The idea, Angela says, the team, the business model, idea, business model, and the implementation itself. Yeah, idea is not enough. The funding, right? So anyone else who wants to share his ideas before I reveal the results? Idea. So most people, yeah, all of them, you're right. So most people would say timing, Baron. So Baron, the Demerits, he is like the first one who said timing, and execution is really important, but it's not one of the things they measured. So actually, you don't see the results right now? Oh, yeah, that's the result. So actually, these are the results. So timing, and only one of you, Baron, said that. Timing is the best factor that could predict the success of a company. So I thought about team, and many of you thought about that, but actually team is important. But if you're doing something too early or too late, it will not work. So no adoption will happen, right? So the timing is very important. And when we're thinking about timing, how is that related to crisis, and why is this the right timing? How do you know what's the right timing, right? So how do you understand that this is the right time for your product? That's the question. If you want to be successful, you want to really master the timing aspect of an idea. So first, we need to understand the consumer behavior in general. I want to add one thing. If you have any question, just ask, and I'll be very happy to answer after it, or right now, or in the Q&A and whatever. Like, if I come from Tel Aviv, Israel, and if anybody met Israelis, they just speak in the middle of the sentence. So I'm so used to that. So feel free to just ask me, okay? And I'll be very happy to hear your thoughts. So let's get back to what I'm saying. So consumer behavior has this very specific way of working. So something happened, and then you have a need. You woke up and you want to freshen your mouth. Okay, so currently what you're doing is, yeah, I want a fresh breath. So what I do, I will go and brush my teeth. That's the solution. So this is what we're usually doing, and we're doing it automatically. We're not thinking. So just imagine how things are, how many things you're using and how many things you're buying. Like, you usually don't buy anything that you need because you already have it and you're used to a certain solution. But if you want to sell them a better toothpaste, you need to make it much, much better and tell them these are the advantages. This is how you're going to get it. And then they might switch. So they switch from the regular solution, what they're used to, into a new one. And still they have these like two things that might make them think again and again before they do the switch. And one is the power of habits. And the second one is like anxiety from something new and they are not familiar with. So if you want to sell something new and to change the behavior of your customers, you really need to understand this switching behavior. And you see it in every like other product that comes about. Maybe you think about Maybe you're switching for going to the cinema or renting a video to Netflix. Why would you go to Netflix instead of using that? So why would you change your behavior? And this is what we're going to check when we're doing innovation. And one more thing that could happen is that I have a new need. Let's say that right now many people, they have new needs, right? So instead of just going out and washing my hands, I will want to sanitize them. So it's not enough that the soap is cleaning and has good smell. I want it to be sanitizer, for example. So I have new things that I want. And once I want a new thing and you offer it to me, and you understand my new needs or my new pain points that will arise in a new need, you can say, this is how you gain something. You gain something when you're using my product. And once you are doing that and users are switching because they need something else, let's, for example, they want a hamburger, but they want it to be healthier, and then they might go for a substitute, right? So they want something new, and then you can offer them. But still, they have this, they're used to regular hamburgers, and they're a bit anxious about trying something new. They might not like it, right? So it's still there. But the last thing I could say about switching, which is the best way to switch, is if the existing solution breaks and it doesn't work. And I guess you all imagine when you want to do something and you don't have any other option, you will probably want to, you have the same need, but you will fulfill it differently. And once you are handed a new solution that helps you, you will see it as a pain reliever, and then you will be more prone to use it, and you have less anxiety and less thinking about habits because the regular thing is broken. I guess that all of you might think about Zoom, for example. Zoom is a great example that you cannot go to work, you cannot meet people, you cannot go to your university, you cannot go to events like this, and you're using some kind of a solution like Zoom. And for them, it was a pure luck thing. I don't think that they could have predicted anything connected to that, but just imagine this product, which is like each time I see it, it's like it's showing me why design is not really needed, because nobody thinks it's a good, well-designed product, and it's not a delightful experience, but it's needed. It gives an answer, and then you can take it. So when you're coming back to why now, it's not only all these reasons, it's because there are switching events when in crisis. You are more prone to try new things, and you will even seek for new things because you have new needs, and what you're using right now is broken. And then you are, as clients, have more, you're more available to hear about new solution, and you're more open to try them out. What I'm saying that this COVID situation, this crisis, is the biggest switching event in your lifetime, more or less. I hope for you, you will not have another crisis, but it's such a big crisis. It's global. It's all over. Everyone is trying to avoid it and handling it in a sense. So there are so many unmet needs out there that you as a company or as an entrepreneur or someone who is trying to do something new, or as an innovator, understand these changing needs. That's the question. How do you know that things are changing, and what is changing in your clients and potential new clients? And now I go into how to do it. So how can you gain advantage in a changing markets? That's a really big question for so many companies out there. They're trying to believe that, yeah, it's going to pass and then it's going to go back to normal. But they understand as it goes more and more that even if the situation goes back, it doesn't mean that their clients will be the same and their needs will be the same and what they expect will be the same. So they need to understand how can they gain advantage even if the situation goes to back as it was. And in many cases, it will not go back at all. So this is my method. It's called Invincible Innovation. And I'm not going to go through everything here, but I usually take teams within corporates and just take people who are teamed into a very successful team, and I go hand in hand with them in order to help them create a better, profitable, successful product. And what we started is there is a change in the market, and there are always changes. Right now, it's a big and fast change, but the market is changing all around, for sure, with technology all around us. And then we need to analyze what are the strengths of your company, what is the market, and what's happening with your clients, and what this is what we're talking about. Then we focus, we're trying lots of ideas, and we focus on the right one. We create some kind of a test or an MVP or something that we can test out. We test it with real users. We really want to know what's going out there. We want to see if they want to use it, if they're prone to really be interested in it. Will they buy it even? And then we decide. So this is one cycle, more or less, like lean startup, and it's more connected to the way you do work with the startup, but I really match it to the needs of a company. And I want to focus on the analyze part and the beginning and the change. So how can you seize the opportunity today from these specific changes within your company, within your domain and your industry? So we analyze in the beginning. We analyze your market, the trends, what are the risks, what other people, other companies are doing. Are there any pre-validated option out there? Maybe your competitors tried something in the past, so forth. Then we are analyzing the strength of a company, how strong they are in the market, compared to competitors, their expertise, their data, the IP, the technology, everything related to what you currently have as a company, which gives you an advantage. And the last thing we're doing is to analyze your customers. And there are so many ways to really understand what's going on with your customers. And first, you need to really get to know them and listen to them, and just talk to them and when you talk to them and understand them, you can empathize and really understand their needs and how can you answer these needs. But what I want to focus right now is one way of doing it, which is customer journey. We're mapping the journey of the customers, and there are two types of customer journey. One is the current one, what he's doing right now in our solution, service, product, what he's doing right now. And the second type of customer journey is actually what will be the future. How do we think this behavior, this journey will change? And this is more or less what we're going to do right now in the workshop. So we're going to build a customer journey related to changing in travel. This is why I talked to you about travel, because it's something that we all miss and we all remember and we all have some kind of knowledge and experience with. So I said, let's take this use case and see how can an airline, for example, understand their customers better, and what are the things that are different right now when you're traveling. And for them, it's like an opportunity to create new solutions. I want to show you a few things about what my client said. For example, Shemek from Google, and Mary from IBM, and Yaron I worked with them before they were purchased by Amazon, but right now we're working inside Amazon. So this is what they think about my work. And I always tell people, ask the people who work with me, don't ask me about what is like working with me. And if you want to know more, you can go to invincibleinnovation.com. I wrote a new book. You could try it out, and I'd love to hear what you think. And now we can go to Mazor, which is a space we can create this a customer journey that we talked about. So now we're going to go to the workshop. You'll have a link in the live chat, and you'll still hear me. So leave this tab open. You'll still hear me. And then you'll go to the Mazor, and then we'll do the workshop together. So we'll have like about 15, 20 minutes just to start with the workshop, or just to feel how is the customer journey. And then we'll come back here and you'll have time for Q&A. Okay, so do you see the link in the live chat? Do you see it? I'm going to share my screen. Just a minute. I'm going to do this and stop sharing that. And I will share the Miro part, yeah, which is a collaboration area, right? Do you do you see my screen? I'm going to open it further so you can see it better. And I want you to come to this area, and I'll see you here once you're coming, right? Okay. So this is the link. Press, and then I'll meet you in Miro. Okay. So as you come here and join me, I'll see you with the small arrows. I want to explain what is this method and what is customer journey. So let's say that we are the app airlines, and we're going to change the way that we are handling our customers and want to understand them. So once we're starting, we have more blank area, and I filled some of them. For example, I gave you the persona, although when we're doing a full workshop, I start from the persona. So who is this user that we want to use? Then we're going to the use case. And then from there, we're going to try to understand in this use case, what are the stages? So in this case, I gave you a persona called David Lawrence, and he's a regional sales manager in Van Mills, a big manufacturer. He's 36 and married +2. So this specific person who is our clients, we want to understand what is the journey he's going through, not only when he comes on our planes, but when he starts his journey while thinking about this sales meeting that he needs to go. So the use case is a business trip, and he's meeting a new potential big customer. So we know that the business travel might be less as today, so people will travel less, but we'll still believe that if it's a big customer, a big company that we need to have a really good relationship with, we'll probably need to go and travel and meet them. So this is why they chose this specific type of user. And I see you're joining me, so I want to thank you that you're coming to this area. And what I'm going to go through right now is these like lines. So we have the first line, which is the stages of what he's doing. The first one is booking the travel. Aya Nirvan, I see you in your line. And the first one is booking the travel. Maybe I should place it a bit bigger, and then you see it better. Okay. So the first thing is booking the travel. Then you prepare the flight, and you're preparing what you need to prepare while you're preparing to go to the airport. What's going on in the airport itself, the flights, and what happens after the flight. So when he gets there. So and we create these like stages together. You might say what happened when he comes back, what happens when he meets him, or whatever. But you all can join me here and think about these stages. So we started with the persona, we started with have the stages, and what we're going to fill together is what is goals. So because we don't have that much time, we're going to have like even 5 minutes for you to take a sticky note. You see there is a sticky note here, and just place it here, and then you could write what you think. And I think like when his goals is to close the deal. Okay. Okay, and I just place it here. Okay, that's my sticky note. So you could take a sticky note like Baran is taking right now. Like this is the sticky note. Do you see my cursor? This is a sticky note. Okay. I think Baran, you use it really looks the same, the shapes and the notes, but you could take a note from here, from a sticky note, and just place it. And in each stage, like booking a travel, you could say what he wants to do when he books the travel. He wants to call the airline. He wants to get a ticket. Blanca, you could place it on the right square. Just take it and place it on the right square and write what you think. Great. Yeah. And then you can write what you think about what should he do while he's booking. You could go to the next one if you think you know find a good offer, right, Baran? and prepare for to the flight. Maybe you know what he's going to do when he prepares for the flight or when he's in the airport. And we're imagining that this is what he's doing right now with COVID. So in the airport, I guess, as I write here, he will maybe want to make sure he is allowed to go on the plane, for example, right? So each one of you could add his own like point of view. Make sure I see I have a spelling mistake. Okay, so each one of you could take a small, for example, he wants to find the fastest route when he's booking a travel, or to check the regulations in this destination, right? Because right now he's not sure if he is allowed to travel there or not, and does he need to bring the test with him, right? And I see that Blanca is saying check regulation when he's preparing for the flight too, right? And when he's in the airport, he might need to show something, maybe some kind of a proof that he is like vaccinated, or he has antibodies in his cells, in his blood. And in the airport, he needs to have a mask right now. Hang is saying, I hope that you're seeing this well. I'll try to make it a bit bigger so you can see what's going on. So you see everyone is adding their own point of view. So maybe he wants champagne during the flight because he's a bit nervous. That's a good idea. So actually what we want to see is what is going on when what's his goals, okay? So this is the first thing. So I see some of you took it's okay to take a shape, but it's better to take a note, okay? So he wants to find the seat for tall people. He could do it maybe while booking or when he prepares for the flight, right? And he's thinking about the safety. So he's worried about safety, not only as usual when you go into a flight, but he's worried about the health issues related to the flight right now. So we know that this was, in the past, I thought about safety when I went to a flight, but right now I have new things to worry about, right? So when I get to a flight, I have another thing that's on my mind that makes me worried, right? So I think that's, we had like a few minutes on the first customer goals. Okay, so I want to ask you to go to the next part. So what's his actions? Okay, so he's checking the, for example, checking the refund is an action. So he's going in the site because he wants to make sure that everything's just fine. He's going to the site and checking for a refund, or he's checking for a destination regulation, or he wants to book the flight with an option to cancel, right? So these are the actions. So now we're on the second line, okay? We're in the second line, okay? And in here, we're gonna think about what are the things that he might be worried about, right? Okay, so he wants to get a mask. He's checking for the refund. He's preparing for the flight. If you have any question, you can ask me in the chat or in here. So he wants to find a seat in the action. So this could be an action. It could be a goal, like what he wants to achieve. So he wants to use a company that he trusts, as Chris said, and check the regulation is like an action, and to get a mask, and to take pills against sickness before he goes into the flight, right? And to buy the pills and then to take them when he's in the airport or in the flight, right? And afterwards he wants to know, do I need test certificates? Do I need it before the flight, after the flight, when I come to the airport? You see, there are so many things that they are new in what's worrying him once they're doing that, right? You know, one of the squares moving. And then he phones the family, right, Christine? When he gets gets to after the flight, he phones the family. When there is the flight itself, you see that he wants to safely fly and stay away from people in the flight. He wants to see that he is not too close to other people in the flight, because in the past the flights were very dense with people, and he's worried that he might be next to someone that might be sick or not vaccinated, or he's worried about that, right? Okay, we have like 2 minutes for the actions themselves, right? So you see that there are new things that most people were not did not think about. And like after the flight, do I need the quarantine? That I did not think about. And then I get the luggage and I think like where the luggage were, was it like safe? Who touched my luggage, for example? Yeah, he phones the family when it's after the flight. So you see that people are adding their thoughts, and some of them are new. They were not here. If we, let's say that in the past we created this way of just understanding what people are worried about when they go to the airport. Most people see flight something as something very stressful in general, and right now you see it's even more stressful, because you need to know so many additional things that might make you worry. And then you see more and more people thinking about what does it mean for me? What are the actions that I need to see? Is it like safety using the bathroom? Like we're going and adding ideas and adding our thoughts to this map in order to really understand how people think when they try to understand what's going on with these people. And I really do advise you to do it in groups of people, diverse group, because people will think differently. And then think about what is really bothering them. And I even do it with users and customers, because what they tell you might surprise you, and you will not think about it. And then you're getting to the hotel safely, and more than that, is the hotel safe? Like, what's going on in the hotel? Do I need to go into quarantine, and where is the hotel that I'm gonna go, right? Because let's say I need to go to 2 weeks. This is the regulation in the country that I'm going, right? So what does that mean, right? So because we don't have that much time, but usually we're investing more in each stage, and how to de-stress, to go and be more relaxed after the flight is another thing that you see. So you see that people are adding more and more ideas. And the ideas, sometimes the first one is what comes to your mind, and the last one for each one of you is something that might be more creative and out of the box, because it's not the obvious thing that everybody knows, that when they need to be in the airport, they need to think about their passport, for example. But right now you see people are thinking, yeah, am I allowed on the flight, and do I need mask, and nobody needs to touch me in the airport. Like when they check me for the security, I don't want to be touched, and it's like too close for me. You see, there are so many things in something which was really obvious for all of us, and now it's much more. So because we don't have that much time, I want to let's finalize the actions. I'm going to go a bit to the distance. No, this is too distant. Oh, I know, because it took you. And I want to show you what are the stages we could have done. We could go and see the emotional aspect. We'll do that together just to finalize what we're doing right now. We're thinking about the touch points. So what are the touch points that each company has? It could be their website. It could be when you go in the airport and you meet the representative. It could be the flight attendant and the people who are taking care of me in the flight. There are so many places I could meet this specific brand and this specific unit. So for example, if we're Up Airlines, we have a website, and we have people who are taking care of me in the flight itself and in the airport, so forth. So these are the touch points. the most important part of what we're doing right now is the pain points. So let's say that we understand that this is what's going on. We need to understand what are the pain points. But for our users, these are the points. You remember that we said that if something is really burning for me, it's really important, and then you hand me a solution, I will take it in a flash because I need it. And this is the pain points. These are the specific points that you could address, and your users will be very happy to get your answer. So now I want to ask you together with me about how is he feeling at each stage. And you see the feelings. It goes from ecstatic to he's very, very pleased, and he doesn't care, to an unhappy state. Okay, so we have all these states, and I ask you, what do you think? What is the place that you would place booking at the travel? Okay, so we're booking the travel. Am I like unhappy, displeased, I don't care? I guess that we'll take it about here. What do you think? Am I on the right spot here? Right? So I would place it like this color. Do you see my round? I would say that you don't really care, or you're not pleased, but are you that worried when you're just booking the flight? I guess it will be more or less here, right? So he's like, he doesn't really care. And now let's go and think about when he's preparing to the flight. Okay, so he's preparing for the flight. Where will he be? Will he be more worried and unhappy, or more pleased when he thinks about, yeah, I'm going to visit this client, and I'm going to get the deal, and I'm going to visit a new place? Or he's like worried, what will be on the flight? What would you say? So actually, I cannot see your reactions, and I guess you could react on AirMeet, but I'm not sure that you do. But I would place it here. So we say that he's less pleased. And in the airport, which is always the most stressful, I would say he's really unhappy. Okay? So when we focus on that feeling, and we understand that he's very unhappy here, and maybe he's very unhappy here, okay, maybe. So these are the points we can address. Okay, so we want to find these pain points. Okay, I'm going to color this in red just so that you see. These are the 2 points that are really, really bad for him, because he's really worried in the airport, and he's very, very nervous, right? And he thinks about, what should I eat before we fly? Will I have what I need? Maybe they don't offer any food, or will I like the food? I don't want to eat too much and not too less, and everything, like when he's in the airport. And now we have so many other things, like people touching me, and can I go and allowed on the flight? And I'm nervous, okay? And you feel ambiguity, yes, Maisa. So there's so many feelings out there when I do that. So, somebody moved that. So somebody moved, I don't know why. Okay, so actually what I'm saying is this means that we can just focus on this part and think about all the details about what's happening in the airport and what's happening in the flight. And we can just take each of these points and think, let's say in the airport there is a representative, what could he do? Related to touch, related to am I allowed, related to sanitation and the luggage, and everybody's wearing masks, and everybody's aware of people being anxious, so forth. So once we understand this journey, we can know exactly what to do. So this is a very good start to understand the client's needs and the right timing in their journey and in general. Okay, so we don't have that much time further. I would like to ask you to go back to the AirMeet, okay? And then we can have a Q&A. I think that for 20 minutes, a very short workshop, we've done a lot. Usually we don't have that many people addressing the issues and answering. So I want to thank you for taking part in the workshop. And now I'm going to go back. I think that now I stop sharing, and I'd be happy to answer your questions in the last part that we have. Hey, Ivan.
Hey, yeah. So, yeah, I am joining, and you can answer
Sure.
questions as they come about. But I think what is important is the people need to understand the essence of sort of customer experience, customer journey in this sort of a space. And the thing is, as you know,
Mhm.
Ali, majority of the people find it difficult even to visualize. I think these kind of canvases definitely help in order to, and these are actually quite
Very.
simple to do, but most of the time, people expect I need to have a
No,
complex
I think
framework
that
to be
the
able to
frame
solve
is
these problems. But uh,
really easy, and you can find them online as long as you're willing just to try it out and gather people and do it, like to have the right facilitator and to have the right group. It's really easy from there, because you understand what you never understood because you never looked there. You never looked at this journey.
correct.
It could be very specified into the details and to what happens in each stage. And once you understand your users, and usually we do that after we talk to users and we have a few interviews and really understand them, we can really get the points that are so hard for them and the unmet needs. And there lies the true seed for a successful product.
Yeah. Dean Smith has asked a couple of
Sure.
questions. So first one is, what are examples of short and long product design development cycles you've been
Mhm.
supporting? And yeah, and the next question is, what can be done to manage agile risks when MVPs are short of market needs?
So first, I would start companies in Israel and worldwide. You see that the move from doing something which is very structured, we know what we're going to do, and having long processes and long time from idea to delivery, we're going to get it shorter and shorter. And the agile methodology allows development teams to work much faster, and it allows us to create these tests as fast as we can. So actually, Agile is working more in the level of the execution and development, and sprints or design sprint or design methodologies, like I showed you today, will be in parallel to that and allow the companies to move faster. And once you're doing these small sprints and small tests and you're trying things and you're talking to users all through the process and not only in the end. So in the past, we created something, the developers worked so hard and so long on something, and then we presented it to the clients. And sometimes they liked it and sometimes they didn't. But this is what makes our life so much harder when we don't know. Because we're open to ask questions and to understand them, we can be empathic and understand them all through the cycle, from the designs before anyone wrote even one line of code, just to make sure, and throughout what we're doing, because a product always grows and lives and he changes, and there are new features. And once you have that on the way, you can always know better than just trying to implement something and then learn. And the second thing that he's asking about the MVP. So once you decide that you're checking a very specific use case. For example, what's your riskiest assumption? We believe that people will be willing to sit as very close as before, or to eat the same food as before. This is what we believe. Let's check it out. Let's do a short test. We can build something which you don't have to do it worldwide with all your clients and everything. Just test something very specific. Once you're building this test, this MVP is a short, it could be a prototype, a short version of what you want to achieve, and you just test it out. You don't have to build everything. You're just testing this specific assumption, and then you could do it.
Yeah, I think that that's a very insightful answer to that question, Dean. Since we sort of running behind
Sure,
schedule a bit, I'm sure there will be more people from the audience. So I'm assuming that you'll be staying on for a while longer on the
sure.
so people can connect and have interaction during our break. So with that, I would like to thank you, Adi.
Thank you.
Again, doing a wonderful session, wonderful workshop, and a round of applause from our side.
Thank you.